Buckle up, buttercups, because we're going to be talking about cerebral palsy today. Today, I wanted to talk about 5 things that I struggle with because of my cerebral palsy, or CP. If you have been subscribed for some time, you will know that when I do talk about cerebral palsy, that I make a disclaimer that my cerebral palsy tends to be considered a mild case. I kind of take issue with being mild, because being mild doesn't mean that I am basically an able-bodied person, because I'm not. The things that I struggle with, it's not going to be the same for everyone. As I've said before, if you've met one person with cerebral palsy, you've just met one person with cerebral palsy. It's my hope that in kind of saying what I struggle with, I can, one, normalize it to myself. So part of this is quite cathartic for myself, but I can also educate some other people out there who may not know just the little things that we struggle with. The first thing that I struggle with, because I have CP, or cerebral palsy, is driving. Y'all, I am a terrible driver. To the point where I don't really drive anymore at all. It has to do with coordination as well as my depth perception. My depth perception is very bad. I got my eyes checked, and it's a new doctor, and he was the first doctor to actually tell me, do you know you have monocular vision? Like, you know, so your average vision is binocular, and you can go into a whole reason about why that is. Basically, my two eyes don't like to play nice together, and so my right eye likes to just chill out and not really help this left eye. So for example, when a car is coming at me, even if it's in another lane, I can't really tell all the time where that car is in relation to my car, and so everything looks like it's about to hit me. So just the fact of cars just coming at me just freaks me out, and I struggle with it. But when you're driving, you have a gas pedal and a brake pedal. Yes, okay, I know that. But you switch, like you lift up your foot and then you bring it over and you hit the brake. I cannot do that. I can't lift up my right foot and then put it on the brake. So I am driving with both feet like this, and this coordination of pressing and then, you know, pressing on the other foot and then pressing on this foot, like lifting and pressing constantly. So it's more like I have to lift up my leg. So because of that, it's quite difficult for me to drive, because there's just so much coordination that goes into the physical act of driving. Don't ask me to drive anywhere. I will most likely say no unless it's down some straight country road or something. Otherwise, I will not drive. The second thing that I struggle with, it relates to the same thing that I just said about driving. But sports, do not throw anything at me, especially if it's coming towards my face, because I, one, do not have the reflexes that are quick enough to catch something. My reflexes are a little bit delayed. Unless it's 5 to 10 feet away from me, I cannot tell it's coming at me. So when it gets in that 5 to 10 foot range, it's like all of a sudden it pops up in my face. I can't tell you how many baseballs and frisbees have hit me in the face just because keys. Don't throw your keys at, no, please don't do that. I will overreact, and then it's just, oh God, no, please don't do that. Number 3, stairs. Stairs have been the bane of my existence for as long as I can remember. Walking upstairs is a little bit, and I mean like minutely easier for me to walk up uniform stairs than walking down a set of stairs, but it's still a little bit difficult for me. Bleachers at school, no. I cannot walk up and down bleachers, and for years I would just fake and pretend that I really just want to sit in the front row because I'm so excited about the pep rally or I'm so excited about the football game. But in actuality, I couldn't walk up and down bleachers because that was very difficult for me. I don't. It's not very, like I just can't. I just don't walk up and down bleachers. Stairs, I need a railing. Oh yes, and then I remember another time in school, in high school, we had this big auditorium, and every so often we would have these like ceremonies and get-togethers and awards where the teachers would recognize some of the students for outstanding academic or some sort of achievement. It was in front of the whole school, but also the person handing out the certificates or the awards would be on top of this stage, and the stairs leading up to the stage, in the middle there was no handrail, and the stairs were kind of old and a little bit like I could never get a sense of how deep the stairs were. Whenever they would call me up to go get these awards, I had a really tough time walking up and down those stairs, so much so that the next time I knew that we were gonna have an award ceremony, I snuck into that main area and I would just practice walking up and down those stairs, that if they should call my name, I wouldn't be as awkward, or there's less of a chance of me tripping. If you are one of my old high school teachers, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to break the rules and go into the assembly room. I just really had to practice so that I wouldn't make a fool of myself. Now the fourth thing that I want to talk about, I didn't really realize also that it was because of my CP that I do this, but the act of like getting something in one hand and then pouring it into a glass is difficult because sometimes I will miss the cup, or I will pour too quickly on this other hand. So what I've done is, say if this is a coffee pot and this is my cup of coffee, I will oftentimes tap a couple times on the mug just to get a sense of like, where is this before I'll pour. So it's really quick. It's like tap, tap, and then I'll pour. And then it's less likely that I will miss the mug or miss the cup. Pouring things, balancing liquid, balancing a plate of food, for example, all of these things are a little bit difficult for me as well. If I know I need to carry something with liquid in it, I will actually just get something with a lid so that if it sloshes around from me limping or how I walk, then it's less likely that it'll spill because I have a lid on it. And then my other hack is to get a really oh, actually, I actually have a mug. People are like, oh my goodness, you drink so much coffee. I do, but what I do is I will not fill it up all the way. I'll fill it up to maybe half, and then that way, even if it sloshes around, it's not going to spill over because there's so much extra space. And the fifth thing that I struggle with because I have CP is my shoes. So many things to say about shoes. 9 times out of 10, I will be in some sort of slip-on shoe. I can tie my shoes, but I am a little bit slower than, I guess, able-bodied people because it takes a lot of coordination for me to tie my shoes. And I also have to actually sit. I can't sort of quickly put on my shoes. I cannot really wear flip-flops, like specific flip-flops, like the ones that have the what do you call those, where it has like a little, the flip-flops where it has like some, like a little piece coming through that separates your big toe from the rest of your toes. What is that called? Y'all, I don't even know what that's called, but y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Where it's just, if I'm gonna wear sandals, it has to have some sort of strap on them in the front or in the back so that it holds my feet in place. Otherwise, I cannot wear them and I will increase my risk of tripping. Cannot wear high heels. Knee and high heels do not work. Usually I just wear some slip-ons, very easy, so that I can just slip in them and slip out of them. In my fantasy book, she goes to the ball, but she ain't wearing no high heels. No high heels for her. I also have a bonus. My bonus struggle that I face because of CP has to do with the weather. Oftentimes, I will notice that the spasticity in my body will change in relationship to the weather. My hip and my leg, they are more accurate than I think any weather channel, because I can tell you with 80 to 85% certainty if it's gonna rain or not just by how I'm feeling with my leg. I get a lot more stiff if it's cold outside, or if I am physically cold, because everything just sort of tenses up. It's a lot more noticeable in colder weather, because oftentimes I will clench up and then my hand will also clench up and my range of motion becomes less as well if it's very cold outside. So that's all I got for y'all today. If y'all like what y'all saw, please subscribe and I will see y'all later.